Yo, what's up? This is Alchemist, man. Right now, you on Dead End Hip Hop, man. You know what time it is.
DeadEndHipHop Conversations. DeadEndHipHop Conversations. We're here with Night Wonder. What's good, homie? Peace to the age. DeadEndHipHop.
I was hyped to do it. I was like, yo, this would be dope, man. For real, like, you know what I'm saying? I check, like, you know, I watch it. I know y'all.
And we actually had a meeting before we got with you, like, yo, we gotta get Alchemist is coming in town. We gotta try to get with him. Like, do you got his Twitter, right? And it's like, yeah, man, hit him up. And
I was tripping when I seen that first one. I was just like, damn, they know this shit. I'm like, damn, they're in Atlanta. And it's like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? It was just crazy because it wasn't a lot of shit like that. Like, you know, you go on YouTube and you see a dude in this room doing an interview. It's like, come on, son. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of respected shit, man. You guys have honest, everybody has their own opinion, and it seems just honest, man. From the day one, when I first seen this shit, I was like, damn, this is dope. Because it was like, it was ill to hear a group of people, like when y'all first did the evidence joint, I was bugging. I was like, wow, this is dope. You know what I mean? And to see, you know what I'm saying? Just people really having, it seemed like you guys really fucking listen to shit. Like,
what did he think of it?
It was dope. I mean, I put a lot of people onto y'all after that. Because people were bugging like, yo, okay, and then me and hip hop. Because hip hop, he rented a spot in my building in Santa Monica. Okay. So we used to, you know, he lived in Atlanta too. So then me and him were looking at a bunch of the interviews and stuff and the reviews, and we just started peeping regularly. You know what I'm saying? Where he would hit me up, you see the new one, you see this? I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like he'd be laughing, he'd be bugging if he knew that I was with y'all right now. He'd be, I gotta hit him and tell him, like, you know what I'm saying?
You say hip hop?
Yeah.
We've been trying to get up with him, man. We talked to him a couple times
a while ago.
He's good.
He's hard to hold down. He's always busy.
He's like the Jay Electronica of the other show. The way Jay Electronica is, that's how he is. But on the, you know, just hanging outside, like he just floats. It's hard.
So if he says we can come to the studio, we can come in like 10 years.
Yeah, he's float. I love him. That's my brother. But you know, it's hard to pin down. And even me, like I never know where he's at. You know what I'm saying? Right. But yeah, like I said, man, you guys are doing some dope shit. You know what I mean? And I respect that everybody got their opinion to where I want to see what motherfuckers are gonna say. Like when I hit the new album that I like this album, like alright, I gotta see everybody's opinion. You know what I mean? Because it's just like when you have some homies who you respect their music opinion. You know what I mean? Because you know some people are like yes men, and then there's some people that you know are gonna give you an honest opinion.
Right.
I respect that more personally. Like my brother's like that. Sometimes I'm like, damn, you don't fuck with me? Like, I want to... He doesn't like everything I do. No. He's not like a technical dude. So he's not about snares or nothing. He's just like, either he likes something or he doesn't. And you know, you got to have some people around that you respect their opinion.
Right.
Like, I don't always agree with them, but I love to get that opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, when you do music, you kind of got to be confident, know you're doing some shit, but to have people you respect definitely made me change my mind a day after, because always at first you're like, nah, fuck that. How can I be not right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I always like my brother, and there's a couple other people who I trust, and it'd be like, you know what I'm saying? Where you
so like your brother, is he the reason why you might make a beat and be like, that shit, and then you might go back and be like, okay, I'm gonna make some sweet shit just so my bro.
Sure. He had me reconsider shit before. At first I'm always like, nah, you're bugging. You know what I mean? What? This is not crazy. But then you know what I mean. And the day after you get out of your like. Because you gotta be confident when you're working, you know what I mean? You gotta at least trust that what you think is dope, you know what I mean? But usually later on, like him, he's one of the few people the day after or something, or I'll give it a thought again, you know what I mean? Just to compare what he was saying, because you know.
So like what's kind of the criticism that he gives you? Like what doesn't he like? What does he like?
He's just like, I'm around so many technical people who might not like a song because the bass line is too low or you know the EQ is wrong. And he's not that type of person because he doesn't understand any of the technical part of music. Okay. So to him, something is dope or it's not. Yeah. Not really any categories. He's not really, you know, and we grew up on the West Coast. So he's more like West Coast based. It's kind of when we were young, he used to listen to Second to None, DJ Quick. Like he was on that. You know, me too. But like you know, Gangstar, EPMD. that really fucked me up. P-Rock and CL. That's why I ended up moving to New York.
Yeah, but I was just about to ask you.
The New York sound was like, as a kid, Evidence. That's how Dilated People's really, when you really listen to it, we were all trying to be like Gangstar. Like Babu the DJ, they rappers, like the whole Elements. And it was like, on the best day, we could be half of how dope they are. And that's why, like, originally the LA sound was like so Dre heavy. It was like G-Funk, you know. And then Farside came out, and a couple of Alcoholics. And then later on, Dilated came out, and it was like, there's kind of like a sound in LA that's almost like East Coast influence. You know what I mean? Because we were so heavily, dude. Premier, man, Evidence will tell you, man, I made fake Premier beats. He used to go, nah, that's rappers are in danger. No, like, and I wouldn't even have the same sample. I would just be so open off of what he was doing. I would find something similar and create it. And so when, in the beginning, sometimes you don't have a sound, you know what I mean? And you're just kind of searching. You're open off of certain people, and like, I didn't have a sound yet, and it was like fake Premier beats. And I had people like him that was like, nah, it's too much like him, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, you know. And then when I moved to New York, I became cool with them. So that was weird as shit, because it was like, I can't play him a fucking beat. It sounds like him. This is real bad, you know. And for years, I never even played him beats. I was just cool with them and would go when they were doing Moment of Truth album. And I used to be in the studio when they were working. And I used to just be like a fly on the wall. Like,
Mobb Deep back in the late 90s and early 2000s, because that's when I first heard you on Murder Music, The Realist with Coogee Rap. That was my first time hearing the Alchemist beat. Was like,
I remember that. That really what that was I had just moved to New York and I was going to NYU, and I came up under Muggs, like, you know, from the Hooligans, and that shit just phased out, and I just kind of bought an ASR. Muggs saw I was like hyped to make beats, and all right, hang out with me. Moved to New York and went to NYU. And Muggs had just started working with Mobb Deep on that Soulless House was One album through this dude, God bless, Dead Big the Beat, who was real instrumental on the West Coast. He was like a part of Loud Records on the West, and he broke Wu-Tang on the West. He broke Mobb Deep. He passed away of some, you know, situations, whatever it was, years ago, and it was like, it was real sad. But he was working with Muggs at the time, and Muggs was working with Mobb Deep. So I moved to New York, and Muggs was like, yo, there's these guys down with Mobb Deep. I met them when I was working with them. You know, Ty Nitty and Godfather and Twin. They're the young guys. And you're my young homie, and they're young guys. You guys gotta hook up. Cause I was really in New York, like barely knew anyone. You know what I mean? So Muggs kind of connected us. So that's how that started. So we started, you know, they started seeing I was at NYU just making beats and shit, and then they brought me, like, Thug Music was their song, and then they brought it to P, and he was like, yo, I like this, and it was just like gradual. I started messing with them. Yeah. I was in New York kind of just dolo making beats, and then it just kind of grew because they were real hesitant at first. You know what I mean? It was like kind of like I came out of nowhere. Infamous Mobb was like, yo, this guy, you know, you got to mess with him. But it was like P would be at the studio and not Havoc. And then I'd come back, Havoc would be there, not P. And then I had a DAT. You know what I mean? I had this one DAT, and we were putting beats on DAT at the time. And so I would play some beats for P, and he would stop on this one. Yo, I like this beat right here. And it was The Realist. And then I would go a couple days later, and Havoc was there, and he wasn't. And he'd be like, go through the DAT. Yo, I like this beat right here. And they picked the same fucking beat. It was funny.
That's crazy.
And I was real kind of like paranoid about it because it was a loop. Like The Realist wasn't a lot of production fanciness to it. It was really a 2-bar loop. Very simple. And I remember when I bought it from the record show up on 42nd Street, I found a loop. I was like, oh shit. Looped it. I envisioned it as an interlude kind of, but they wanted to rap to it. So it was like, it was always weird when it came out and everybody loved it because I really didn't get busy production wise. You know what I mean? I was always like, damn. But you know, you know, when G-Rap came in and what he did was just nutty.
It was incredible.
Nutty.
It was incredible.
I was blown away. He literally came in and laid that shit, wrote it in 45 minutes and
damn.
So you watched him lay it.
They called me.
That verse was
he called me one night. I was actually working with Freddie Fox the next day on Stock in the Game, an early joint we did. So I was like going to sleep early. I was like on some shit, like had the ASR 10 in the case. I used to carry it, big ass shit, like used to be leaning over, like it was so heavy it was a joke, you know what I mean? It was like, and P called me and was like, yo, remember that beat you got? It was like 9 o'clock one night. He's like, yo, come to the studio. And he didn't tell me G-Rap was there. I knew what beat he was talking about. I put the ASR in the case, the cab, and like went to Soundtrack. And I walked in, and G-Rap was sitting there, and I was like, oh shit, you know, G-Rap. Oh, what's up, good to meet you. And P was like, yo, you know, remember that beat? And I was like, yeah, you know, it was like, he's like, you want to lay that? I was like, yeah, get the engineer in here, let's go. I didn't call my manager, I didn't go, yo, you know, Mobb Deep wants to get it. Maybe that shit would have fucked it up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was on some real, what? Get the engineer, let me lay it. G-Rap is right here. You know what I mean? And he literally, the beat came up, he was like, this the one. That's why he went first, because he was done quick, and everybody was kind of stuck after he laid it.
It's crazy, because I know at the same time when you had Keep It Thorough, that single and We Gon' Make It with Jadakiss kind of you was still like underground, but you was like you was mainstream at the same time. I was like, this is the most underground mainstreamist producer that I've ever heard. It's like how you can still work with someone like a Jadakiss and the Nas, but then you work with Currency, and just that's crazy to me.
I always look at it like it was a blessing, you know what I mean? Because it was like a time when a lot of producers were making a name for themselves, like and there was a lot of like peers. I felt that we all were competing with each other, and it was almost at that edge of the time when before like everybody made beats and computers came in the game, and you kind of had to have a machine. Like I remember, but prior to that, like when I was real young, like anybody who had an MPC or SP was like an alien. Like, yo, he has an SP, he's got a machine. We got to get with him. Like, you were just ill if you had a machine. So it was like, you know, I feel like for a lot of producers now, like the pool is so much bigger. I feel like we got lucky, a lot of us, by hooking up with great artists and being able to work and make a name as a producer, where people can just know who I am. It's crazy. I know kids with beats that are killing my beats. Like, holy shit. And I'm like, how does he break through and make a name now when everybody got beats and you don't really have to have a name for a beat anymore? You know what I mean? Like, you can get a hot beat from almost anybody now. I mean, I meet kids, I'm blown away all the time. Like, I meet kids on tour, like, or whatever, yo, I got some beats. I always listen, because you'd be surprised. Europe, really, man. You know, when overseas, sometimes the demos, the rhymes, because of the language barrier, sometimes hard, but the beats,
beats are universal,
man, the kids overseas are making some shit, you know what I mean? So many Dilla babies, man. Like, children has just been aborted. Like, yo, he doesn't even know how many kids he has overseas. You know what I mean? It's like, it's ill. But I feel like we were lucky just coming in the game and able to make a name. So when I meet kids like A-Rab or other people now, I'm like, Jesus Christ. But not just, yo, his beats in general are just, you know, like I meet dope dudes all the time. So I just want to like try to figure out a way that I can help out. The same way Muggs or anybody else did. It was like, yo, you know, because they gave me room and then I had to do what I had to do. But I always try that, you know what I mean? Like, I meet a lot of new producers and try to get them in the mix. You know, if I'm working on a project or somebody needs beats, yo. A lot of times they're like, nah, we want, you know, your shit. But I'm like, trust me. A-Rab is going to give you exactly what you want from me, probably better, you know what I mean? Or whoever, you know what I mean?
Want that name, though. You know,
I get it, you know, cool, but, you know, like, you know, I hear kids who are, you know, I feel like that's why I like doing those whole albums now. Like, Currency shit kind of set it off. Prior to that, it was like Return of the Mac, but
you did Fashion, you did Antidote.
Yeah, and now once I started doing the whole albums, it was like, yo, because even hanging around Premier and Guru at the time, like Premier would have a beat up for the day, and it might not have been the hottest or the beat he could just sell, but it was like, because they knew they were making an album and they were kind of like on a journey, it was like, all right, this is the topic for the day, let's knock it out and see where it fits into the whole circle later. And now, after like making singles and beats for people over the years, it was like, alright, there's new dudes who are just as equipped, probably if not more than me, to do that. And maybe that was a stage. Alright, I went through that stage. Now I'm more inspired to make whole albums, because I can get with a rapper like Rock Marcy or somebody who I just think is incredible and go, alright, we're on an island, we're in this crib for 2 weeks, come over every day, we're just cooking, you know what I mean? I'm gonna make something, and what we make that day, we're just the energy and try to create they're gonna mess with certain beats that they wouldn't have if it was like, I'm just getting one joint from Mac.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And then we can kind of like experiment and try different things. That's why I love working with Ev or P or Action or people who we became friends. So it's like it's like Man, if you guys ever come to LA, please come to the lab. You'll see it's just fun.
Obviously, your resume is fucking ridiculous, and I've people like you. I've always wondered, like, how do you craft so many beats? Like, is that all you do all day long? Because I know you're talking about these stories of people just coming around, hanging out, and you're chilling. You just kind of make beats here and there, but to have the resume that you have with all of these dope beats, like, there's not filler. There's not like bullshit beats. Like, it's all dope beats. Like, how do you do this?
I try to, I live in the studio, like the crib, and I hope you guys will come out. You'll see, like, the crib is connected to the studio. It was right above it, like a little 1-bedroom. I never even make it there. Like, I usually end up on the couch, bump, back to work in the morning, and that's why we call it like a camp, because it's like, it's kind of like therapy. Like, man, like, if I don't stay on it every day, but I do go through like spurts. Like, sometimes I'll just be like, all right, boom, I'm making a beat. Oh, make another. Like, Oh No's like that. Oh No is speed beat maker. Like, he comes over and plays 30 beats that he made this week. He had 30 beats. And not like I said, not filler, like really dope shit. So with dudes like that coming over and Ev and all these other people, I'm like, I just feel like it's competition creatively. So there's constantly something going on, and I always like create a new idea to try to challenge myself, like doing this gospel project with my man, this kid Budgie, who's a DJ from London, and he I met him in London. He came out to LA and was shopping for records and was like, gospel, because when I go to Europe, all I want is Europe records. So I kind of like scoured through a lot of the soul and rock from America, and he came here and was like, gospel, because he can't really find a lot of that stuff, and a lot of gospel records are like, live recording, 500 copies made. It's like, I mean, now a lot of people are hitting it, but over the years I never really tapped into gospel. So lately I did a little project with him, and it gave me some parameters to work within. So then I was off on a mission for weeks, gospel, hunting, like that was all I was buying for like a month. And it was like, so we find things to keep us busy, and then it kind of is like a way to dig a hole and just kind of make mad beats, and then, or J Rock will come over and play me some new Madlib beats, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I got it.
Fuck. Because Madlib beats are like his beat CDs are like albums. Yeah. They're like little treats. Like, he got a little thing playing, and then the beat might play for 30 seconds, go on to some other shit. And it fucked me up. So he did that a month ago, and then I went home and was like, fuck this, I want to make a beat CD. You know what I mean? And then I maybe had 10 or 12 beats lately that I was working on, and I didn't bounce them down yet, so then I kind of assembled them and made them like a little mini album and gave it a name, and was like, alright. And I've been sending out those beats, so they're a little more interesting to listen to otherwise. You know what I mean? Like a little expedition where it's like an instrumental album without rhymes.
Like, the last year you've been like super. I'm like, you got another project coming up? I'm like, damn, like, when are you taking a break?
But then it was like, I stopped placing beats on albums. And that's when last year I was like, I had Mac Miller shit. I did a couple of joints for Schoolboy Q's album. And like Earl, there was certain people I was like when I did Wet Wipes, I was on a mission to do a beat for Cam, because I always fucked with him, but we never did anything. So I was just kept making beats and sending them to Duke to God. Like, when I like really focus on doing something, just is the same way too. Like when we like, focus on getting one thing done, and he does that more than me because I'm more scatterbrained. You know what I mean? Because like he can really, like when he did the record for Drake or the record for Ross last year, he like, see me, I'll probably give you a bunch of joints and we'll vibe out. Justice is like a scientist. Like, I got this loop, you'll hear it, you like it, give me 3 days, he's fixing it, he's making it, you're in on that beat already. You know what I'm saying? So he's more really like, like if Just wanted to, he can make a beat for anybody. I believe. You know what I mean?
But people will say the same thing about you, because I mean, for you to make a project like he said with Fashion, with Gangrene, and then go and throw Eminem tracks,
right?
Like, that's crazy as shit to me. And you're not crafting these beats specifically for these people. It's just that they happen to like this particular beat.
That's been the cool thing about lately working with some of the new artists, like Danny Brown or Doms or Earl or any of these guys actors, because it was like, at first I was like, man, maybe I gotta fit, or even Currency. When I got with him, I didn't know much about his music, and was like, do I gotta make something that fits? Do I have to listen to his music and cater? You know what I mean?
Did he hit you up about that?
he just wanted to work, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But then once we started working, I was a little nervous at first, because I thought I'd need to really like study his music and make a sound that would fit
Cater to
him.
his sound,
Instead, I was playing him the latest batch that I just thought was dope and might fit to his flow or his voice, and he was fucking with it. So then I was like, wow, this is dope. So I don't have to like completely try to recreate something else. I could do what I do, and we'll find our sound.
Right.
And that's been with all like these younger, you know, Mac too or whoever it was like. They kind of were like Schoolboy. Schoolboy and Kendrick came over the same day. It was right when Schoolboy got signed. It was the day he got signed, and I met them both the same day. They came to my lab, and Q was like.